chapter 17. It's number 17. Divisprushau Hema Kirita Kotibihi Divisprushau Hema Kirita Kotibihi Niruddha Ashtau Skurat Angada Bhujau Niruddha Kashtau Spuradangada Bhujau Gam Kampayanto Charanaihi Pade Pade Gam Kampayanto Charanai Pade Pade Khatya Sukancha Arkam Atitya Thastatuhu Khatya Sukancha Arkam Atitya Thastatuhu Khatya Sukancha Arkam Atitya Thastatuhu Divisprushau Hema Kirita Kotibihi Niruddha Kastau Spuradangada Bhujau Gam Kampayanto Charanaihi Pade Pade Khatya Sukanchārkam Atitya Thastatuhu Divisprushau Hema Kirita Kotibihi Niruddha Kastau Spuradangada Bhujau Gam Kampayanto Charanaihi Pade Pade Khatya Sukanchārkam Atitya Thastatuhu Divisprushau Hema Kirita Kotibihi Niruddha Kastau Spuradangada Bhujau Gam Kampayanto Charanaihi Pade Pade Khatya Sukanchārkam Atitya Thastatuhu
Divisprushau Hema Kirita Kotibihi Niruddha Kastau Spuradangada Bhujau Gam Kampayanto Charanaihi Pade Pade Khatya Sukanchārkam Atitya Thastatuhu Divisprushau Hema Kirita Kotibihi Niruddha Kastau Spuradangada Bhujau Gam Kampayanto Charanaihi Pade Pade Khatya Sukanchārkam Atitya Thastatuhu
Any more devotees?
Divisprushau Hema Kirita Kotibihi
Niruddha Kastau Spuradangada
Divisprisho, touching the sky. Hema, golden. Kirita, of their helmets. Kotibihi, with the crests. Niruddha, locked. Kasto, the direction. Spurat, brilliant. Angata, bracelets. Bhujao, on whose arms. Gam, the earth. Kampayanto, shaking. Charanaihi, with their feet. Pade pade, at every step. Katya, with their waists. Sukancha, with beautiful decorated belts. Arkam, the sun. Atitya, surpassing. Tasthatuhu, they stood. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Their bodies became so tall that they seemed to kiss the sky with the crests of their gold crowns. They blocked the view of all directions, and while walking, shook the earth at every step. Their arms were adorned with brilliant bracelets, and they stood as if covering the sun with their waists, which were bound with excellent and beautiful girdles. Translation with repetition. Their bodies became so tall that they seemed to kiss the sky. With the crests of their gold crowns. They blocked the view of all directions. And while walking, shook the earth on every step. Their arms were adorned with brilliant bracelets. And they stood as if covering the sun with their waists, which were bound with excellent and beautiful girdles. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. In the demoniac way of civilization, people are interested in getting a body constructed in such a way that when they walk on the street, the earth will tremble, and when they stand, it will appear that they cover the sun and the vision of the four directions. If a race appears strong in body, their country is materially considered to be among the highly advanced nations of the world. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta. Om Ajnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Chashurunmilitam Nena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna-Krishnaaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nityanamini. Namaste Saraswate Deve Bhagavani Chaitanya Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatani. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So, in the Bhagavatam, we are seeing this beautiful description of the two brothers, Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu. to demoniac brothers and how they grew up and what they did. Divis Pusham, they were so tall, well built, as if they were Divis Pusham. Divi is sky, almost touching the sky. Hema Kirita Kotibihi, and their Kotibihi, and their crest, highest point, was Hema Kirita, a golden crown. Hema Kirita Kotibihi, Divis Pusham. And Tastatuhu, in the end it says they stood like that. Their standing was so tall, touching the sky. Niruddha Kastha Spurarangada Puja. Their Angada, their arms, Angada, Spurarangada Puja. And their bodies were decorated with brilliant jewelry, Niruddha Kastava, and as if blocking the direction. Gam Kampayanto Charanaihi Pade Pade, Pade Pade, as they walked with their Charanaihi, with their feet. Gam Kampayanto, earth was trembling. Kampana is to tremble. So, Gam Kampayantam Charanaihi Pade Pade. Katya, waist. Katya, Sukhancha. Sukhancha, in beautiful decorated belts. Sukhancha. Arkham Atithya Thastatu. Arkham, sun. Atithya, sarcasm. Thastatu. So their bodies became so tall that they seemed to kiss the sky with the crests of their gold crown. Divispusham, Yeva Kirita Koti Vihi, Divispusham. They blocked the view, Niruddha, of all directions, Niruddha Kasto. And while walking, Pade Pade, shook the earth, Gam Kampayanta, at every step, Pade Pade, Charanaihi, Gam Kampayanto, Charanaihi, Pade Pade. Their arms were adorned with brilliant bracelets. Spuradangada, Bujau, shoulders, arms. And they stood, Hastatu, as if covering the sun, Arka Atithya, with their waists, Katya, which were bound with excellent and beautiful girdles. Katya Sukhancham, Sukhancha Arkam, Katya Sukhancha Arkamati Thakasta. So Prabhupada is writing in the purport, in the demoniac way of civilization, people are interested in getting a body constructed in such a way that they walk on the street and the earth will tremble, and when they stand it will appear that they cover the sun and the vision of the four directions. So, Prabhupada explains many places in the Shastras, it is explained that there are two kinds of people in the society. the demoniac and the divine, asuric and the Daivi. Daivi Sampat, Asuri Sampat. As Indians, when we all grew up as children, demons means we were told they'll have some funny teeth coming out, they'll have horns, etc. That's the visual conception we all developed. May be true, may not be true physically, but more important is their disposition in their lives. What is their disposition in their lives? What is their outlook in their lives? What is their perspective of life? That is what makes somebody Asura or Daiva. Daiva or divine personalities are those who recognize Vishnu, and demoniac are typically those who don't recognize Vishnu. It's a simple terminology, recognize Vishnu and don't recognize Vishnu. Recognize Vishnu means what? You acknowledge that Vishnu is the Supreme Person and you have an understanding about that Supreme Person, and this material world belongs to the Vishnu, belongs to Vishnu. We as living entities also belong to Vishnu, and I will conduct my life according to that. Just like, for instance, you go to let's say, you go to a mall. There are young people here who go to mall. In every city, you go to a mall, and in the mall you see so many stores, dress and fashion and food and all kinds of things. You walk into a store and you'll see so many things displayed. And you look around, the salesmen are all busy attending to some customers, writing something, attending to their machine or whatever, this cashier. Look around, and then you find something very attractive. It is a small gadget or something. Nobody is watching. Just take it, slip it into your pocket. Look around and walk away. Already all of you are laughing. Why? We call that stealing. We call that a thief. I saw one ad, you must have also seen this in, where did I see? I saw it somewhere, not in Bangalore or Delhi, somewhere in Mumbai I saw it. I remember. Billboard, which says, "Upar wala sab dekh raha hai." My Hindi is not very accurate, something like that. It's an advertisement for CCTV. So, in the malls also you should be careful. There are CCTV which are capturing, and it's not very surprising you will soon be, police will be after you. Or before you step out, maybe the security guards will be after you, if they are watching. So, why we think that this is called stealing? You're a thief. If you go to your mall, look around, nobody is there, put that, slip it into your pocket and walk away. And don't pay for it. What is actually happening in this whole scenario? What's happening is, you are thinking these objects, these gadgets, somehow I like it, and I'll just take it, and I'll try to possess that, and I'll use it, and I'll use it for my enjoyment, and I don't care for the owner of who owns this, and I'll just slip it into my pocket and then get away with it. The core of this is called thief, because you are not recognizing the owner of it. Say the owner of the store, it's about 9 o'clock in the night and his store is closing. At that time he walks around in the store and he sees some gadgets. Hey, this is not moving at all. Nobody is buying. Last 6 months it is here. So he will take it out of the showcase, put in his pocket, and he will go close the shutters down and lock and go away. And nothing happens, because he is the owner. You see, owner can use his objects. Anyone else cannot use that object unless in this world there is another system of understanding called transfer of ownership. When you pay the price, he will hand over the ownership to you, and you buy the object and you can own it. See? Another interesting thing I came across in law, I don't know if somebody here in this audience studied law. What is ownership in law? Ownership means bundle of rights. If I own something, I own a bundle of rights. This is a concept in law. You have the right to use it. You have the right to make some modifications in it. You have the right to sell it and get a certain consideration of money or something for yourself. All of these are called ownership. When you rent a house from an owner, some of the rights of ownership he is giving to you. You can use it. Suppose you take a house on rent and you try to sell it to somebody, you will run into trouble. Because in the lease agreement, he has only handed over one of the rights to use it, but not to sell it. Suppose you take a house on rent and you think that, hey, this wall is a big obstacle, I want to break this wall, build something else. You will run into trouble, because the owner didn't give you rights to make modifications in it. He only allowed you to use it as it is, for a certain rent, for a certain period of time, because he is the real owner. So he has given a few of the bundle of from the bundle of rights. He gave you something, and something he kept for himself. You see the understanding of legal understanding of ownership. Now, coming to this, one who recognizes that Vishnu is the owner of everything, and I shall always be conscious of it, that Vishnu is the owner, and tena tyaktena bhunjita, some things that he has allotted to me, that much I can use, and I should be grateful to him because he has given me. And when you take something from an owner, you are supposed to give back something, and so I will also recognize his ownership by offering something to Vishnu. That offering something to Vishnu is called yajna. And in the process of yajna, the essence of yajna is you are recognizing the ownership of Vishnu. This is the meaning of yajna. And someone who recognizes the ownership of Vishnu, he is a Daivi Purusha. One who fails to recognize the ownership of Vishnu, he is an Asuric Purusha. This is the meaning, someone's substance. There are some people who are sensitive that yes, God. These things are not very clearly articulated in our culture, but actually, from the Shastras, if we are trained in the Shastras, this is the correct understanding that emerges. You see, this recognition of an owner, I must be sensitive to it, I must be careful about it. These concepts don't occur in the minds of an animal. Right? You have kept something in the sunlight, or some food, something in the sunlight, or left it inattentively. A dog or a cat comes, looks around, it starts eating it. The dog does not think, who is the owner of this one? Who has the bundle of rights? Cannot understand all that. Whereas human beings, we can be sensitive. And this sensitivity should be trained. It cannot be left to itself. It has to be channeled, it has to be trained, it has to be correctly understood, it has to be taught systematically, and how to apply this in life. This is called recognition of Vishnu. Now, philosophically, Krishna explains in the Bhagavad Gita, Bhumirapo nalo vayuhu kammano buddhirevacha ahankara nitiyame bhinna prakriti ashtadha. Ashtadha, 8. Krishna is referring the 8 elements that are there in the world. What are the 8 elements? He says, Panchabhutas, Bhumihi, Apaha, Analaha, Vayuhu, Kam. Earth, water, air, fire, and ether or space. These are called Panchabhuta. This is a way of classification of what we are seeing in the world. This is a very scientific way of analyzing. You are creating a framework for analytical thinking. You are creating a framework for better understanding of the world the world. I see building there, I see some roof there, I see some plants growing there, I see a window here, I see steel grills here, I see some cloth curtain here, I see some wind which is moving the curtain, and I see sunlight. I'm seeing all these things, myriad things. And I look around, I see myriad things, different kinds of things. But now, an intelligent person wants to break it down. What are its component parts? To break down some complex thing into its component elements, component parts, and then look at it, is actually a framework of analytical thinking. That's what our Shastras are saying. What is all this? That building, where was it before? Before the building came, what was there? There was just land. And how did this building come about? Some people brought some bricks and they assembled the bricks. What is a brick? Brick is nothing but earth. You put some water, some particular kind of earth, you put some water and you burn it in fire, it becomes solid, it develops certain strengths, and that is called a brick, and you can use this as a building block for making walls. Actually, it is bhumi, apaha, analaha. It is earth, water, and fire combination in a certain way. So they built that. Okay, now they plastered it with cement. Now cement, what is cement? Cement is largely limestone. It's also coming from the earth. It's another, you have to search somewhere. Now something else is there. That's called limestone. You bring that one. That has got a bonding property. And then you study that one. And then you mix it with sand. Sand also coming from the earth. And add water to it. Suppose you don't add water, no water. Just throw cement. It will not stick. You see, you have to add water. Apa. And then it develops its sticky quality, bonding quality. And then scientists have figured out at the molecular level it has got some kind of an adhesive property. And then when the water evaporates, that gets stuck. It has these properties. That's what they have used. Again, it is all coming from the earth, water, fire, and various elements. You see, if you analyze like that, everything in the world is made of these Panchabhutas. Now, Krishna has said Ashta, 8. Apart from the Panchabhuta, 4 and 5 elements, then Krishna is saying Manaha. There is somebody who is thinking, oh, I must have a building. Buddhi. Okay, somebody thought of I must have a building. Then how to bring all this together? That requires buddhi. Manas is about desires, feelings. Buddhi is about giving direction to the mind, giving direction to the senses, how to aggregate and organize these things. This is buddhi. So 5 plus 2, 7. There is one ahankara. Ahankara, I am the doer. I am doing it. I am acting. So there is a one ahankara element of doership and action and such thing, which is also an element like one of these 7 elements. So these are the 8 elements. Bhumi rapo nalo vayuhu kham mano buddhi revacha ahankaram iti yamme bhinna prakrutirashtadha. These 8 elements, they are called prakriti, nature, and Krishna is saying me prakriti. This is my nature. I am the owner of this. I am the controller of this. I am the maker of this. Now you see. Now let us say the owner of that building, he thought that I will get all these things and put it together because this is my money. But even if he had his money, he's using all these things which are actually given by God. Ultimately, you see, the cement manufacturer, you pay for him one bag of cement and you think that I am the owner of this cement. And that man thought he was the owner before. And then he took some money and gave it to me. Now I am thinking he's also in illusion, I am also in illusion in a certain way. Because what did he do? He also arranged, let's say he's a manufacturer of cement. He got limestone, he got different things. There is some process, I don't know exactly. Some way to make a cement manufacturing. If you see, different people he has paid and collected. They all had something, they transported, together. But originally, say for instance, limestone mine is there. Limestone mine owner, he bought that land by giving some money. He's thinking, now I am the land owner and there is limestone here, I can mine this, I can sell it. But that limestone being there and having those kind of property, who made all that? I can't take any earth and put together and bond it, it will not stay. I can't have a roof, I can't have a beam, I can't have a column. With strength, with those properties. So who made those properties? Who gave those properties to those material elements? That they behave in a certain way. It's all God's creation. I didn't pay for any of these things. You see? Like for instance, we pay water bill. Correct? You pay water bill every month. What do you pay for? You pay to the department who brought the water to your doorstep by putting pipes, having tanks at a high level and different things. It's just an organized way because so many houses are there in a city. It has to be organized systematically. And then where did the department get the water from? There were some reservoirs, they went and collected the water, or from some river, they took the water. Where did the river and the reservoir get the water from? Did they pay for it? That water, they took it free. It is there anyway. For public use, you take it. The department took like that. So if you carefully analyze, we are not actually paying to the owner. We are only paying to the intermediaries who are bringing it to us. Whether it is cement, whether it is water, whether you take any damn thing in this world. You are only paying to the intermediaries, agents who are bringing it. Real owner, nobody has paid. And that real owner is Krishna is saying, I am the real owner. Me prakriti, binna prakriti. Ahankara nitiyam me, binna prakriti nashnata. Me prakriti, this is my energy. That sense of recognition that it is Krishna is the owner, that makes us a divine person, and unwilling to accept the ownership of Vishnu makes us a demoniac person. Now you can decide what you want to be. Just see. Actually, divine person, it is civilized person. A civilized person is somebody who is sensitive and careful. Suppose you invite me to your house. I'll come to your house. You'll make me sit in the living room and I'm sitting on the sofa. You give me a chair or something to sit and I'm sitting. And then as a hospitality, you'll ask me, Prabhuji, what do you like to have? And I will say, if you want some milk or some glass of juice, something I'll get for you. And I'll say, okay, you can give me milk. And so he goes inside to prepare the milk. And now I'm looking around in the living room, empty room, nobody is there. And I see so many things are there in the showcase, different, in people's house. I take one by one and put in my pocket. And then I'm back. And then the milk comes, I drink the milk, I say thank you and walk away. Will a civilized man do this? You see, even in modern world, civilized beings are those who are sensitive to ownership and they don't simply take away things like that. That is all what our Shastra is saying. Be a civilized person, don't be an uncivilized person. Uncivilized persons are happy with this. I pay the intermediaries, that arrangement I have done, that is enough. Original owner, I don't care. This is not real civilization. Now you may say, no, how to distribute and how to fairly pay the right price. No, I have paid the right price. So I have become the owner. I'm a very, I don't take away like that. I pay the right price. I may negotiate a little and I'll pay the right price and I'll pay the taxes. I'm a very laws and abiding citizen. You may say. For that, Srila Prabhupada gives an example. Once there were thieves. They all, group of thieves, and they all planned, let's rob a bank. And they all worked very hard. To rob a bank is not easy. You plan a lot. They somehow got a gun, they got a car, and they got somebody else, and all of them, they dressed up nicely. And then they organized in such a way, and one man walks into the bank. The car is waiting outside. He's carrying a gun. And then suddenly he looks at everybody, pulls out a gun, goes to the cashier, takes away the money. Keep quiet. And then he walks out. And then the car is waiting. He gets into the car and the other person is ready, driving. He drives fast. And they drive out of the city to some hideout. And then all of them gather. Wonderful, our plans worked very well. And then they pull out the bag and then they lay it out. And now they say, see, we have all worked hard. Very, very rightfully, correctly, very fairly. There should be no unfairness. Let's distribute this money. Now you see, for stealing there was no fairness, there was no consideration. After stealing the money from the bank, they are saying fairly, correctly, equally, properly, we should distribute the money. Is there any meaning to this? After stealing from the bank. That is why Prabhupada says, this after taking away so many things from Krishna, and then we say, here we shall fairly, rightfully, properly distribute the stolen property. Who gave you all this? That is why we have to recognize Vishnu. And the system of organizing. Very nice verses are there. I'll read this verse. A society which organizes itself in such a way that Vishnu is always recognized is called a Varnashrama society. Varnashrama acharavata purushena parahpuman Vishnuraradhyate pantha nanyat tattosha karanam. Varnashrama acharavata. Varnashrama, varna ashrama, acharavata, purushena parahpuman. Such a person who is part of a varnashrama and he follows the varnashrama achara, Brahmana should do like this, Kshatriya should do like this, Brahmachari should do like this, Grahastha should do like this. Varnashrama achara vatha purushena parah puman Vishnuraradhyate pantha. This is a Vishnu Aradhana Pantha. This is a way of worshipping, recognizing Vishnu. Nanyat Karanam, Nanyat Tattosha Karanam. There is no other purpose for this than Vishnu Toshanam. Krishna Toshanam. Toshana means to happy. That's how the word Santosha comes. Tattoshanam, Vishnu Santoshanam, Vishnu Santosham, Vishnu Aradhyate Pantha. So, in a Varnashrama system, everybody is doing their respective duty, and in all their duties, Vishnu is the one who is the beneficiary, who is the ultimate beneficiary, who is the ultimate object of worship and pleasure and satisfaction. Vishnu should be pleased, and such a society is called a Varnashrama society. And in such a society, everybody does their work, and by doing their work, Vishnu Aradhana is happening. Just like in our organization, we are an organization, we are a temple organization, different devotees. We give different devotees, hey, you do this, Prabhu. Prabhu, you do this service. Prabhu, you do this service. Mataji, you do this service. We assign services to all Prabhus and Mataji. Everybody does their work. But we say, all of your work is Krishna Aradhana. Because Krishna is the owner of everything. We recognize, we are trying to follow his instruction, trying to remember him. We are trying to be Krishna conscious. Now you see how all this ties up? And people who don't have this thinking, they are called asuras. And there were two asuras who were growing up. Hiranyakashipu, Hiranyaksha. How they were building their bodies. They were tall, they were powerful. They walked on the ground to tremble. It was so powerful. Even a devotee can be all this. Can be powerful, all tall, well built, adorned with everything, always recognizing Vishnu. You see, this is the core value that is being taught in the Srimad Bhagavatam. We'll stop here. If you have any questions, I'll try to answer. Yes, Mataji.
Can you shed some light on your name?
My name?
Yes.
Chanchalapati Dasa.
What the meaning of this, why you got this name of the Diksha?
Chanchalapati, how I got the name?
And the meaning of the name.
Meaning, Chanchala means Lakshmi. Chanchalapati is Narayana, Vishnu. And I am his Dasa. Supposed to be his Dasa. Trying to be his Dasa. That's it. See, Vishnu Aradhyate. That's why all our names have Vishnu, Krishna, Rama, Gunakara Rama, Dasa. Rama, who is the mine of all wonderful qualities, his Dasa, please. Radha Jivana Dasa. Life of Radha is Krishna. His Dasa. Like this, you see, all our names are constantly to recognize, to remember, Krishna is the Lord and we are his servants. This understanding has to come. That understanding has to permeate into our activities. It has to permeate into our existence. That such a society is called a Varnashrama society. We'll stop here. Any question? Yeah, please.
As you were saying that we have to take Vishnu before we do any work, or we have to take him, that it is his materialistic thing and we are taking his blessings and doing it. So as you took the case of robbery of the bank, If those robbers would have taken Vishnu's blessings and thought about him, would that be the right thing to do?
It is not. Because by Vishnu's arrangement, all these things are happening ultimately. Bank system, all those kind of things. So, by the government, the governing power is also Vishnu's power. Whoever is holding it, right? Whatever through a constitutional system, we have an arrangement in our country. So there is an arrangement. So this is an arrangement which has been blessed by the Lord. Because all organizing power belongs to the Lord. Lord only has given some people to organize it in a certain way. So we cannot do that. We have to respect Vishnu and various arrangements Vishnu has made. Not that I can bypass, shortcut the arrangement because I am recognizing Vishnu. No. If we do that, we will not be able to run this organization. Isn't it? We can't do that. We should not do that. We should be law abiding. So that in a sustained way we can do service. Maybe for a short time they can enjoy, but police will come after them. So we don't want such disturbances. So we abide with the law to serve the Lord. That's more.
This question, if I have, maybe my question is different.
Please.
So, if those thieves were devotees
Okay.
and they have planned, they chant Hare Krishna,
Okay.
but they plundered
Stole
the
them
bank.
by-
Before going do that, they prayed to Lord.
Pray to the Lord. Yeah. Good idea. That is why I said Vishnu, recognizing Vishnu means recognizing Vishnu, Vishnu's arrangement, Vishnu's understanding. Who is Vishnu, how all these things are being managed, how this world is running. So that governing Shakti, governing power is also Vishnu's power. And how Vishnu has given that power to some people to organize this world, we have to recognize that. And hence, we cannot break the law like that. Normally, it is not allowed. Some very, very, very extraordinary circumstances are there where somebody does some things. There are some stories of some great devotees who were robbing travelers and offering it to the Lord. Those are very extraordinary cases. Not everybody should do that. Shastras, Acharyas have said, nobody should do that. Everyone should not do that. Maybe there are some exceptional examples in the history, but it is not for imitation. Yes, sir.
Can compassion become impediment to your spiritual? Too much compassion become impediment to your spiritual growth?
Compassion can become an impediment to spiritual growth.
Because when you go outside, you see the views of suffering and all, and that affects your mind, body, soul, and then you can't concentrate on your, because you want to do something, you can't do as an individual because it is Krishna's world. So does it impede on my?
No, it's like this. When you see some suffering people in the world, at one level, oh, he is suffering and I must help him. That's okay. That is also compassion. Now we want to take a little more deeper and philosophical view to this. Just now we discussed that everything is organized by Vishnu's power. The organizing power, the governing power is Vishnu Shakti. So under the present government and the present system, the society, there are people suffering like this. Actually, if you are a little more observant, those are very visible suffering. There are so many people, they are also suffering. Somebody may be in a big house, penthouse or a tall building, and you go a little bit, there's so much suffering in that house. See? So this is a little bit more exposed suffering, and that's more concealed suffering. But there is suffering. So if you are really concerned, you should be concerned about the exposed suffering and the concealed suffering. Both should strike you and pain you. Right? So now, let's take a little more deeper philosophical. Externally, suddenly, just like Prabhupada points out, all these are symptoms of a deeper disease. Just like if you go to your doctor and he treats only your symptoms, you can make out, this doctor is just, I don't know what's doing. Right? You begin to doubt. He's just treating the symptoms. In the same way, we have to know what is the deeper reason why all this suffering exists. And the deeper reason is, from the Shastras we understand, we come into this material world because of our forgetfulness of Krishna. Bhuliye tomare samsare asir pe nana vidha yatha. I turned away from Krishna, came to this material existence, and I am experiencing different kinds of misery. Tomara charane asya chayani bhulibo dukhya katha. Now I realize I want to come to your lotus feet, Krishna. Please accept me. And this has been my this has been my story of pain. This has been my tale of woes. This is how Bhaktivinoda Thakur says. So we understand that there are different degrees of forgetfulness of Krishna, different degrees of lack of recognition of Krishna, and that is why people are suffering. So if I want to really mitigate, my deeper compassion is an expression of deeper compassion is that how I can mitigate this forgetfulness of Krishna, because that is causing all these miseries. So what we do in our Krishna consciousness is deep philosophy, deep compassion, and deep compassionate action. So sometimes some people may not understand, but there is a reasoning for this. It requires a little bit sober thinking, one will be able to appreciate this. Stop here. And Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Shri Krishna Balaram ki, Shri Nitai Gauranga ki, Harinam Sankirtan ki, Nitai Gaur Prema.